And welcome in everyone to this episode of Crazy's Corner. We're going to be talking about our free agency running backs and tight ends, where they what the impact is. We just recorded a quarterback and wide receiver show, so if you want to hear that one, go ahead. If you're coming from that one, thank you for tuning in. This one's not going to be one you want to miss. We're talking about running backs, and then a little bit of tight ends at the end, but mainly the show is going to be focusing on running backs. A lot of running backs on the move in what seems to be a weaker running back draft class. So a lot of teams been paying up for the running back positions. A lot of teams been trying to get moves to get their guy. We're going to start with the guy who went from division rivals. Division rivals, it seems to be kind of a theme. We're going to talk about a little bit. We got Zach from Ocean State, Will from Media, Jeff from Media also might be joining us. Welcome in, guys. Saquon Barkley is the first big name, 3-year, $37.75 million deal to go sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not going to get the 1 yard line work in Philadelphia, but they're a better offense. They have a better offensive line. I like this for Saquon Barkley. I have him in a dynasty league where I am back-to-back champion, and I'm going to be riding with Saquon Barkley for at least the next 2 years. He probably won't ever see the third year on this deal, but the next 2 years in Philadelphia, good offense, good offensive line. The efficiency will be there. This is an offense that we just saw DeAndre Swift look good behind. I think Saquon Barkley is still better than DeAndre Swift. He's still decently young. So I think this is an upgrade for Saquon Barkley going from New York to Philly. Zach, Will, what do you guys think about Saquon?
It's a great situation. I guess the only downside, right, is that he's behind another running quarterback that's going to steal a ton of rushing touchdowns from him. But other than that, it's a great setup. If he was able to thrive in that absolute, dumpster fire of a team in New York, I'd imagine on a Super Bowl ready team, he's going to have opportunities to, put up stats, be fantasy relevant per usual. So, yeah, it's a great position. If you're a dynasty guy with Saquon, you got to be happy for this destination. So,
yeah. I think, like I said, at the 1 yard line, it's Jalen Hurts, but inside the 5, I think they're still going to be running. DeAndre Swift had 5 rushing touchdowns last year, and Saquon had 6. I think Saquon's better than DeAndre Swift. He'll warrant more of those inside the 10, inside the 20 carries that DeAndre Swift didn't get, and Jason Kelsey's not there. So is the tush push going to be as effective? We'll still wait to see. I wouldn't be surprised if Saquon has 7-8 rushing touchdowns behind a more efficient running between the 20s. I think that's an upgrade, and I think he'll be a top 10 running back for sure this upcoming season, possibly even top 5 if the touchdowns fall his way. Will, what do you think about Saquon in Philly?
If I have him in Dynasty, I'm trading high. I have no faith that he can stay healthy at this point in his career, and I'm not sure how he's going to be used there yet. So, and I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. Watching the Eagles the last part of that season, I'm not sure any of us can say what team this is anymore. And that's okay. Teams have their peaks and valleys, and teams adjust. And so, I'm not that high on him. I think he's okay, but there's other running backs out there I'd rather have that are younger. That in a dynasty league, I'd rather have that investment. Now, if I'm on the cusp of the championship and we're 4 weeks into the season and he's having a good year, am I going to maybe try to trade to a team that's struggling? Yeah. But I don't know if I'm going in right now because I think the price is too high. So if you don't own him, I wouldn't buy right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think his value's gone up if you have him. Yeah. If you looking to trade him, sure. If you're looking to win again, he could definitely be a contending piece. Yeah. Another running back who switched teams this year, Josh Jacobs, got the most money contract-wise of anyone in this running back pool, a 4-year, $48 million deal. But that essentially works out to it's a 1 year, $12 million every year for the Packers. There's no guaranteed money past year one. That's just, okay, here's a 1 year, $12 million deal, and just play that 4 times is essentially what it's going to work out to be. So will he be there next year? We don't know at this point. They cut Aaron Jones. So Josh Jacobs will be the running back for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones is going to be the running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And the Packers are probably better offense. And in that case, probably more touchdowns going to the running back position. I'm probably taking Aaron Jones or taking Josh Jacobs this year for redraft. But I'm not convinced Josh Jacobs is going to be on this Packers team for any more than 2 years. He'll definitely won't see the 4 years out of this contract. So dynasty-wise, not super high on it. This year, going into the season, I'd rather have Josh Jacobs for this upcoming season, but I think it's close. Zach, you think you'd rather have Josh Jacobs for 1 year than Aaron Jones? And then we'll let Will answer, who is the Vikings fan.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because Aaron Jones' value last year came in just a ton of dump offs from Jordan Love. So I don't know if Josh Jacobs necessarily fills that same role. It's almost like he's just a slimmer AJ Dillon to a degree, and I think Josh Jacobs was a guy that you were already kind of wary of. But this could be one of those scenarios where a guy just changes team. I'm trying to think of a running back off the top of my head. A Raheem Mostert kind of situation where you just get a fresh environment. The right offense, the right kind of guy, and I could see Josh Jacobs, falling in the end zone a ton of times on a young Packers offense that looks to trend upwards. I would say at least. They're a playoff team. Jordan Love looks legit as a quarterback for what he was showing last year. So yeah, there's a good scenario for Josh Jacobs, and I think it's a great deal for the Packers. You kind of I'm not sure. I believe Josh Jacobs is maybe like a year younger than Aaron Jones. Yeah. So you kind of just you got like a slight upgrade from that perspective, like the youth part of it. But Josh Jacobs is still a really good running back, and it'd be interesting to see what this Packers offense looks like.
Yeah, Aaron Jones 29, Josh Jacobs is 26.
Wow.
Yeah, so probably a 2-year difference in there. I would have to guess.
He's probably turning 27 soon or something.
Yeah, you're a Vikings fan. What do you think? Would you rather have your new RB1?
Look, when you're rebuild and your team's in rebuild, doesn't matter. Like, honestly, anyone they sign for a year or two, I mean, most fans are already thinking about 2 year. They're already thinking about 25, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, draft a quarterback, hope he progresses through the season, and that excites you for 25. So being that on a fan side, hey, it's easy to be a Viking fan this year. No one's giving you a chance. If you lose, you lose. You win, you win. It's no pressure, right? On the fantasy side, I do think Jacobs is a very interesting signing. I don't know if anyone really expected Josh Jacobs to go to the Packers.
Nope.
So what are the Packers thinking? Because did Dillon re-sign with them? He was talking about it.
He did.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs is literally going to be Aaron Jones, just can't catch as well.
Right. And so I don't understand, right? I don't, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like I said, I don't know if Josh Jacobs is a Packer next year.
Yeah.
They can cut him for nothing. And if it doesn't work out this year, maybe it works out this year and he scores a lot of touchdowns. I think that's really what you're counting on. By way of Josh Jacobs this year, if he's going to be fantasy relevant, it's going to be touchdowns. He's okay at catching the ball, but he's not Aaron Jones when it comes to the passing game. So I don't think we can expect that sort of passing work. But this next guy I'm a little bit more excited for because we just saw Devin Singletary turn up at the last half of that last year, and that's Joe Mixon, who was cut and then traded and then extended with the Houston Texans on a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. Joe Mixon looked great at the end of last year without Joe Burrow. The teams knew exactly what was coming. They were going to be running with Joe Mixon. And now he's on a Texans team who has C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins. They're not going to have to face 8-man boxes like Joe Mixon was at the end of last year. There's going to be running lanes for them. This is a team that we project to score a lot of touchdowns. Joe Mixon scores some touchdowns. I'm excited for Joe Mixon this year. And I think not only this year, but next year, I think he can be great for fantasy. I think he'll see 2 years into this deal. And for me, fantasy-wise, dynasty-wise, if you're looking to try and make a move, maybe you need a running back to kind of make your push this year or next year, I think he's a guy you can probably go out and get. Like I said, he's a little bit older. Injuries, probably a concern, but I like this move. I think it's an upgrade for him as opposed to being released I think this would probably have been his best option if he was released. So I like Joe Mixon in Houston. What do you guys think about Joe Mixon? You excited for his prospects this next couple of years?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not excited what he did to Dameon Pierce's value, but I guess should have
that
seen
was
it
already
coming.
done. Devin Singletary.
Yeah, when Devin Singletary outplays you, you know it's pretty much a wrap. Yeah, it's kind of a similar nucleus team as the Bengals had. You know, you got the young high draft former Ohio State quarterback at the helm, and then you got a couple of young not rookie, but you had one rookie, Tank Dell, and you got Nico Collins. So you kind of got that T. Higgins, Jamar Chase effect. So Joe Mixon should kind of find his way pretty easily on this team. That drop off is coming though. Extending him is wild, in my opinion. When you could have just taken on that played out this year and then maybe given him something next year, but they obviously believe he still got it. So from a dynasty perspective, you got to be happy that he went from not having a team to being on a playoff caliber team. So I traded Joe Mixon away a couple years ago, and I'm looking back at it like that was definitely the wrong move at the time because I was expecting the drop off to come a lot sooner.
Yeah, I was trying to buy Joe Mixon going into this offseason. Just I needed some running back help. I wanted to take a gamble on somebody. Joe Mixon was that guy. I wish I had have gotten Joe Mixon now because I think his value for the next 2 years is good. Like you said, the drop off is coming with all running backs when they get up there at age. It's definitely coming. I believe in the offense. That's what it comes down to here.
Look, I think to Zach's point, I actually think he's very valuable this year because he's the veteran in the skill positions on offense, right? Young wide receivers, young quarterback. I think it was somewhat of a savvy move by the Texans. I agree about the extension, but for this year and probably next year, having even if he only plays half the carries that he did before, his value in that huddle will probably be in that offensive room will probably be really good. The question I want to watch is, do the Texans draft a running back before the 4th round?
Probably not this year. Next year.
Right. But if they do, then you got to factor that in.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these running backs, you're not going to see them reach the last year of their deal. So a 3-year deal is essentially just a 2-year deal because the guarantees are gone. So I like this for Joe Mixon this year, next year with the Texans. Dameon Pierce, as I said, not good at football. We got a couple more running backs. DeAndre Swift signed with the Bears, joins Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. And an offense that's going to have Caleb Williams as their quarterback. We already talked about their wide receivers on the last show. I don't like DeAndre Swift when it comes to fantasy. Too many mouths to feed in this offense. Rookie quarterbacks don't produce high-end running backs. Either of you guys excited for DeAndre Swift in this offense? You think he's just kind of maybe a 50% split with the other two backs? I
don't know if you can expect I don't think anybody really expected what they got last year out of DeAndre Swift. And I certainly don't think you can have those same expectations going into this season. Rookie quarterbacks generally put a damper on running backs' seasons for fantasy outlooks just from that basic perspective. And then you add in the fact that they actually do have some weapons. It's not like this is a New York Giants kind of team where Saquon Barkley is the only guy in town with talent. Bears overnight, for some reason, decided to put pieces in their offense the day after shipping out Justin Fields, which is just ironic. But you imagine you have Caleb Williams at the helm, 2 solid wide receivers. You got Cole Kmet, and you got 2 other running backs that are already there. I don't know where the ceiling is for DeAndre Swift this year, and I think his name is going to carry him in the draft. And he could be one of those guys you look back and just be like, damn, this dude just tanked my season because I felt like I kept having to play him because he just got just enough touches but didn't produce enough on an offense that can definitely disperse the ball elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel that. I think this is great for Caleb Williams. The Bears are doing everything they can to put him in a position to succeed. Just sucks fantasy-wise for us. We're going to move on.
Yeah, and the stadium's not good.
Yeah.
It's not a running back friendly stadium. It's just not.
Yeah. We got
Bears.
Derrick Henry signed with the Ravens. I like it for 1 year. It's a 2 year, $16 million deal. Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns last year. I don't think Henry is the bell cow this year, but I think he'll be fantasy relevant. He'll probably have 16, 17 touchdowns on the ground this year. Ravens.
So do you think Henry's a late season play? Like, the Ravens aren't stupid. I don't think they're going to burn him in the first few weeks. I think they're going to pace him, and he's just going to ramp up as they get into the last 6 weeks in the playoffs.
He'll be 50 yards and a touchdown
and
a catch. He'll be 11, 12. I don't think you're going to get those 3 touchdown games, sure, like we saw Gus Everett get, but I don't think you're going to get 200-yard games from Henry anymore.
So if you have Henry in Dynasty, or even if you do him in redraft, I think you have to don't be stupid and trade him. I think you ride him the whole season, because my gut is it's a late season play for the Ravens and not an early season play.
If you have Henry in Dynasty, I'm trading him now. I think his value's high. Right now, everyone's excited with the land.
Okay, well, it's high. And if they slow roll him, it's going to belly out.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to be careful. You either trade now or you
sell him now. Sell him now, for sure.
Yeah.
If you're not selling him now, at least wait till he has a 3-touchdown game.
Yeah, there you go.
And then sell him. But yeah, I would move Derrick Henry now. Move him to a contending team. He's got 1 year left, in my opinion.
What would you give for Derrick Henry if you were a contending team? Would you give a first round pick in a dynasty league if you're late first round?
No. I'd give
I think that's why I think I'm in the camp of holding on to him. I don't think you sell him, because chances are, you weren't really happy with his situation before. If you have Derrick Henry in Dynasty, he just completely changed the outlook for next season. And he was thriving on some of those really shitty Tennessee teams. He's without a doubt on the best team he's ever played for since being in the league, by far. So I think the value he adds, if you already have him, you just said you wouldn't get a first-round pick for him. You're going to trade a running back on a Super Bowl caliber team for a second round, or maybe just a couple of guys, or maybe some future stuff. For me, the running back position is too scarce to give up a situation like that. You said is that he's probably going to score a touchdown every game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see how that doesn't happen. He was doing that in Tennessee with, guys like, I don't know, some of Marcus Mariota, like all these bums, Matt Flynn, like all these guys that are just straight scrubs. He's going to have an opportunity now to fall in the end zone when Lamar takes him down the field every drive.
Yeah, like we said, Gus Edwards got 13 touchdowns last year, and Derrick Henry is better than Gus Edwards. And he garners more goal line touches than Gus Edwards.
You said little bit.
Well,
I traded for the Gus bust with Zach last year in Dynasty, so every guy I trade for gets replaced.
I tried to trade Jeff actually for Derrick Henry. Trying to make a big trade.
Jeff loves Derrick. If you have Jeff in your league, trade him Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I would. I don't want Henry per se, but I was trading him a running back, and I needed to get another running back in return because I don't have the depth at running back position to trade away a running back. And Henry was the only one I thought he might part with, but it didn't end up working. Another running back that Will has been a fan of, Tony Pollard, signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Titans.
What? Let me tell you, there's something about the league that is completely screwed running backs. And it goes back to last year's draft with the Seahawks. Like, what is – I get they're chasing money. I am so glad I moved Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that. I get for him the money. I don't understand what his value is in Tennessee. I really don't.
He's better than Tajay Spears, in my opinion. Like, him and Tajay Spears are almost the same player. But right. I think Tony Pollard's a little bit better. So I think he's going to get 60% of the work in that backfield.
But he's not
volume will be there.
Okay. It's still frustrating if you had
you trade him away to me. I need the running back depth is what I need. I already have Brees and Jahmyr Gibbs and Devon A-Chain, so I'm not looking for him to be, the guy. I just need consistency and volume. I think he's going to get that. passing work, depending on Will Levis.
Oh God, man, I feel sorry for Pollard. That's a lot of pressure.
There's DeMarco Murray all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally DeMarco. Except
right.
he didn't make a stop in Philly. So
Yeah.
But it's rough.
Well, Yep.
Eckler,
yeah, I'm off the Pollard train just to wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Eckler, another guy, 2-year, $8 million deal to go to Washington. To me, Eckler is now just a third down back. Brian Robinson's a better runner of the football.
I'm not drafting him at all. I would draft a punter before I drafted Eckler on my team this year. What's he going to do with the Commanders?
He can't score because the Commanders can't score. And
then Jaden Daniels, best quarterback.
Yeah. So get Jaden Daniels, then they're running quarterbacks all the time. They're not running Austin Eckler, and Austin Eckler has no receiving upside. When
Jaden Daniels eventually gets injured, and who's the backup quarterback in Washington right now?
Me.
Yeah. Right. They trade away Howell, and Brissett's gone. So
yep.
I'm out on Eckler. Zach Moss to Cincinnati. I expect them to draft someone, so I'm not fully in on Zach.
That one broke my heart. Because I think Zach Moss on the right team could have been a sneaky play.
Well, if they don't draft anyone, then Zach Moss is their guy.
That was the perfect setup for him last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fantasy greatness at some points last year. Let's not forget how
beginning of the year
he was last year. So, I mean, if they don't fill in any other spots, I mean, you got some other guys that have been there that people have kind of like, the deeper leagues kind of guys that you're looking at and for the Bengals backfield. But yeah, I mean, Zach Moss just carries over what he did last year. I mean, he could be sneaky flex play for you.
Yeah, they got Chase Brown there, who everyone's kind of expecting. If they don't draft anyone, I think Zach Moss is their RB1. I expect them to add someone in this draft class. Gus Edwards went to the Chargers, who got rid of Austin Eckler. They have Isaiah Spiller.
They're 1,000% drafting Blake Corum.
Yeah, I expect them. That's what I was literally going to say. I expect them to draft Blake Corum. It's just Gus Edwards is not elite enough to just be the guy, but he really just makes this backfield a mess. I don't want a part of it. Alexander Madison to Las Vegas. I think Zamir White's a better running back. I don't want a part of that backfield either. I don't know about you, Zach. No. And Antonio Gibson goes to New England. He gets more money than Austin Eckler. And a 3-year deal. I don't want Antonio Gibson, and I think he's literally the same person Ramondre Stevenson is, just not as good.
100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Ramondre's way better. Way bigger build.
They paid Gibson $11 million for 3 years, so now Ramondre gets less touches, and he's less valuable.
No, stop me if you heard this before, but Patriots running backs, absolute pain for fantasy football.
Yep. Yeah.
And it never changes, right? Every year.
And Zeke's still a free agent, so who knows? He could go back to Dallas, or he could end up in New England. They could have a 3-pack going there. Wouldn't be surprised. But that rounds out. We also had Devin Singletary. We talked about it a little bit. It goes to the Giants. If they don't draft anyone, I guess he's their guy. He's not as good as Saquon Barkley in a bad offense. He's a volume play. 6 to 12 points a game. He's not going to get you like no points a game because he's going to have the touches. Well, I'm not excited that way.
Look who made it.
Jeff, are you excited about Devin Singletary in New York?
No. No, not at all.
Tony Pollard in Tennessee?
Definitely.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Austin Eckler in Washington.
He had his best years while he was second guy to
Melvin Gordon.
So maybe you can reprise that, but not really.
Jeff just really wanted to come back because we're moving on to our tight ends right now. And since
that's Jeff's favorite
Jeff
subject.
decided to show up, Noah Fant has re-signed with the Seattle Seahawks on a 2-year, $21 million deal. Jeff, how we feeling about Noah Fant coming back to Seattle?
You guys trying to make me wreck.
Now,
I am not
if he's
excited
not
about it at all. I'm not excited about Seattle at all. They have just destroyed my team. I don't even know what to say about them. I don't. Once they got rid of Pete, that's what they stole my soul from. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this team, man. I really don't.
They got three good wide receivers. They still got 2 good running backs. I don't really think Noah Fant re-signing with them means anything fantasy-wise. Will, Zach, you guys interested in Noah Fant whatsoever?
Noah, I'm not.
And Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, Geno Smith,
Sam
their
Howell.
quarterback. I don't think it
Fine.
matters. Hunter Henry re-signed with the Patriots. He's now their best option. That's about it. There's the rumors going around on social media that the Patriots signed KJ Osborne so that the Vikings would get an extra 3rd-round compensatory pick next year, so that the Vikings and Patriots would trade, so the Vikings can trade up to the 3 pick and the Patriots will trade back, get the 2 first-round picks. They already gave the Vikings the 3rd-round pick for signing KJ Osborne. That rumor is going around.
What the hell? Who came up with that idea? And
Yeah, so signing KJ Osborne for the amount of money they did pretty much locks the Vikings into a good compensatory pick next year.
2.
So that
2
the
third
Vikings
rounders.
can add their 3rd-round pick into a deal to trade up to 3. So if the Vikings trade up to 3, I fully believe this is true, and there's been some collusion going on. But I don't think the Vikings will trade up to 3. But if that were to happen, Hunter Henry, to me, I think he's, just
all this for Hunter Henry.
Yeah, all this for Hunter Henry. I think he's just
And KJ Osborne.
same guy. He was same guy. Just maybe matchup play. If you're streaming the tight end position.
He'll be a
Same
good,
thing, Gerald Everett.
good target for Drake May.
Yeah, or maybe it's not Drake May. Who knows? Maybe they'll go JJ McCarthy.
Michigan white guy.
JJ McCarthy's doing this.
It worked out
JJ
last
McCarthy,
time.
I feel like, isn't actually doing this, and this is all media hype. JJ McCarthy is just kind of like,
Yeah, he's definitely the next Will Levis for sure.
yeah. Will Levis had that top 10 hype, and then just
He'll be sweating it out with his girlfriend on live TV.
I would love to see that. Gerald Everett, Chicago, to be the tight end 2.
Trash.
No, thank you. Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst to the Chargers to go run the ball. To me, all this proves is they're not taking Brock Bowers in the draft. You can't take Brock Bowers now. You can't run 3 tight end sets in the NFL, unless if they somehow find their way into Brock Bowers and Blake Corum.
They won't.
They're going. Look, 1920s football, just flying wing, and we're just gonna go.
Yeah, Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh, and no wide receivers.
And no running back.
Yeah, no. They got Gus the Bus. He is the perfect.
And if they take Blake Corum, they're gonna have to take him. What?
Second round?
Early second round.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Where do they go in the first round? Wide receiver.
They gotta go.
have to go wide receiver.
Roma Dunze.
They probably won't. They'll probably go like edge rusher.
It would be
Or
perfect
Lionel.
if they draft a Dunze or however you say his name, because he's the next Mike Williams. So that'd just be so fitting for the Chargers to take him.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. And one last guy here, one last tight end I want to talk about because I think he's got some fantasy
Let's
football.
go. Let's go.
Jonnu Smith
Let's go,
signed a
Jonnu.
2-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. Jonnu Smith is known for being one of the fastest tight ends in the league. And where does he go? Does he go to join the fastest wide receivers and running backs and all that in Miami? He sure does. A team that doesn't really have, that big play tight end. Durham Smythe's been all
How
right.
dare you?
But since, Mike Gesicki, there really hasn't been any big plays out of the tight end there for Miami. So I think Jonnu Smith, coming off a good year with Arthur Smith, he's going to be probably in that Hunter Henry tier fantasy-wise. I think he's a flex play. Zach, what do you think about Jonnu Smith in this offense?
Yeah, you highlighted it perfectly. He fits in perfectly with the offense. There's times, obviously, I watched a little bit of Tua play, so there's a lot of times where Tua was in distress and he needed a more athletic tight end around him because obviously Tyreek Hill draws so many eyes. Jalen Waddle garners a ton of attention. So that really leaves the middle underneath field for Jonnu Smith and Tua. He likes those quick plays, and you just add another speedster at a position that we were totally lacking last year. Like Durham Smythe is a beloved guy amongst Dolphins fans, but as far as like moving the needle for us to like compete in the AFC, we definitely were like behind other teams when it came to the tight end position. So this is huge, and he's on the trade block in League One. So if any of you guys, and if you guys believe in him.
Yeah, I think we saw last year in Atlanta, Jonnu Smith was able to take 50-yard screens to the house. When you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle downfield, and then Tua is like running around, they're not open. Tua looks down, he finds Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith can take that 2-yard play. He can take it for 20 or 30 yards. Like he's that guy, and I think that's going to be why it's going to come down to matchups and what your tight end looks like. But I think Jonnu Smith, honestly, is probably. He's got that high upside. He can take those plays for touchdowns. I like Jonnu Smith. Will, Jeff, anything you guys want to add about Jonnu Smith? Odell Beckham Jr. visiting with the Dolphins tomorrow at the time of this recording, which means it'll be yesterday. Odell coming in, taking all the work from everybody because he's still the best wide receiver in the league, obviously.
Yep.
Sure.
But he might be on the trade block in TV in League One. Might have to go find him somewhere. See what we can get worked out. But we will end it there. Thank you guys. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Will, for joining. It's been a while since we got together, so I enjoyed these two shows. If you're just watching this show, you can go check out Quarterbacks Wide Receiver Show. Go listen to that one. If you've already watched both of them, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will try to be back next week. If not next week, we'll be back the week after that. Thank you guys all for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Steelers country.
Let's ride.